Welcome to Still Talking Uncut. I'm your host, Big Easy, from all the forms of social media, Philly Moonshine. I'm here with my boy, Sean Rigsby, Master Distiller from Discovery Channel. And we got a special guest, our boy, Bennett Shiner. Real happy to have him on here.
Yes, sir. Good to be here.
Yeah, you're
So,
happy about it. I'm not.
You're never happy about it.
I'm never
Sean-
happy about nothing.
Yeah, Sean ain't never happy about nothing. I think the only thing that brings Sean pleasure is when he's telling me horror stories about the stepson. Can't find the bolts to my lawnmower. Left my lawnmower out. Won't cut the grass, and I got to be like, "Hey man, let me tell you some stepson stories I got going on." It's good times, good times.
Oh, absolutely.
He's like,
What's
"Man,
going on?
guess what happened?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, well, guess what? Check this out." But what's going on, Bennett? Man, it's good to see you.
Hey, nothing, man. Just living the dream.
Nice. So, well, Sean, what are you drinking on over there?
Some good old fashioned purified water
Oh,
All right.
and some Big Easy peach brandy.
oh, you still got some peach?
About that much of it.
Yeah,
From what you give me.
you're the only one with some peach left. So,
I'm okay with that.
Banana brandy.
oh,
Big Easy.
Big Easy.
I had gotten me a jar of some bourbon from this ugly guy at the jam, man. It's really good bourbon, man. So the person that made this bourbon right here told me that they 1 year in a barrel.
1 year in a 5-gallon barrel.
In a
Yes,
5-gallon barrel, man. This is
Yes, sir.
I got this bourbon from our guest of honor tonight, and man, you could definitely tell the patience it took to make such a quality product. And it just, you hurry up and wait, and that's the hardest part sometimes.
It is hard to wait on that barrel. It is.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, there, Bennett.
Let's see. I'm a farmer. I raise chickens and cows. Started doing this about 4 years ago. Just started messing around. Bought a 20-gallon still from North Georgia. Just grain.
Was that all copper rig from North Georgia?
All copper was my first rig, 20 gallons.
That's a good place
And,
to start.
It was probably bigger than I needed to start with. I had a lot of big disasters quick.
But, later on, you don't have to upgrade. It's not like you started out with a 5-gallon Vever and then you moved up to a keg and then you went with the 20. It's like, look, man, I'm going to make my mistakes big early, and that way it'll save me a little money later on. So, nothing wrong with going big early. So,
but I went bigger. I upgraded to a 30, and I'm about to order another one. It's going to be a lot bigger.
there's only one way. You can't go down, man, and that's one of the things I've run into. Like, you start small and then you run bigger and you run bigger, and then you get with a buddy and you run even bigger, and you're like, man, I don't even want to run my own still anymore because it ain't no fun.
The other day I ran a 150-gallon still, and that was amazing. It really was. Go ahead, Sean.
I was just going to say, tell us about that experience.
It was probably the most boring run I've ever had because everything went perfect. There was no problems.
How they fire it off? Electric, gas,
gas.
Tube?
It was two big
one,
jet burners.
Oh,
two
big nice jet burners.
And then once it got up to temperature, we dropped down to one.
Yep.
And,
so how long did it take to get that thing running?
It took about 3 hours, I think he said, to get up to temperature. I showed up right after it got producing.
Okay.
Showed up after all the hard work was done. That sounds like somebody I know over here.
Yeah, he's wearing a blue shirt tonight.
Yeah,
we still spent 8 hours running that thing. And we put out 15 gallons at 180 proof.
And that's moving.
Yes.
Did
and
it
was.
But
you know what? You're sitting there and you're waiting for a 5-gallon bucket to fill up, not a jar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different,
So-
ain't it?
It's a
It
big
is.
difference. It really is.
So, and then you get kind of hooked on it, and you're like, man, I don't care if I'm catching a gallon, I'm still catching it in that 5-gallon bucket right there.
I'm moving my stuff up. I'm going to 5-gallon buckets. I don't care.
That's the way to go, man. It's definitely
Well,
it's a game changer.
And that's like just with a 50-gallon pot, you know. I feel like a 5-gallon bucket's perfect.
Well, it is. I mean, the thing is you usually learn your cuts. Okay, you learn where your heads are and your 4 shots.
Yeah.
I usually throw off about 2.5 jars, quart jars, and then I'm good. I'm in the hearts. So I could put a 5-gallon bucket under there, catch 4 gallons. I'm done.
Yep. That's for me too, man. It's like I'm gonna catch my heads 4 shots. I'm gonna toss that off. I'm gonna kick his 5-gallon bucket underneath here. I'll see you when the tails come, and then when it gets toward the end, I'm gonna switch back to jars and make sure I get my end cuts really well, and then once the tails come in, then here comes the tails bucket.
Yep. I take my tails and I just throw them back in the mash barrel. They're going in the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's what I do with them. Everything except the first quart, and then I use it to fire the grill up or fire up the fire pit.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Hey, it works.
Yeah,
works to be a good cleaner too.
It does.
So you said you got started about 4 years ago. What got you intrigued into to want to learn how to make liquor?
Like a lot of people, I started watching the show Moonshiners, and I thought, why would I pay $50 for a bottle if I can make it myself?
And take $50 make you 5 gallons.
And it does. And now I can do that.
Right.
The initial investment is a lot. But now I can make, the other night I made clear apple pie. I ended up with 8 proofed gallons in one run.
It's a lot of drunk.
I could drink a lot on that.
That's a lot of drunk.
A lot.
What do you proof yours down to? Your clear apple pie?
The clear apple pie, actually, this time I proofed it down to right at 90.
Okay.
But now if the wife or somebody wants some, we'll proof it on down to about 50 or 60 or something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you definitely gotta tone it down and keep it drinkable for the old lady.
So is that about what we have is 90?
Yes. Which one do you have? Clear apple pie?
Yeah.
90. Yeah, you're at 90.
Now I think I got a jar of clear apple pie. I just have not located it yet. It's mixed in with all the other jars. It looks similar. So
you should have a peach, a clear apple pie, and a bourbon.
I got the bourbon.
And Sean got a special jar of bourbon.
Yeah.
You lucky dog. I didn't even get none of that.
Thanks, Jerry.
You know what? That is probably the best friend I have made lately, to learn from. Because he is a book of knowledge. And just sitting there talking to him, I've learned a lot.
It's always nice you get a friend who you can just, bounce ideas off of, and even just talking to him gives you great ideas. Yeah. Shit, I stopped by Sean's yesterday to drop off some stuff and pick up, welded keg that he brought back from Maggie Valley for me, and we're just sitting there talking, and man, it's just like a great idea pops in your head just from sitting there shooting and shit, and then I give Sean all the credit for the idea, and I'm on my way, and that's just the way it goes. So,
that's the way it is. You're always learning, no matter what. You can never stop learning.
Yep. And if you're not learning, then you're done with it, in my opinion. At least you should be.
I used to do all fruit mash, all grain mash. When I started learning about infusions and jars and stuff like that, it made it easier.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I like infusing. There's no problem with that.
It's cheaper. You can get all that brandy flavor with a sugar wash.
A smart man told me it's all about dollars and cents, right?
If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Exactly.
So, I don't know how smart that man is.
To me, he's smart, but
So you started about 4 years ago. What was your first mash that you made? Did you go corn sugar? Did you try to convert like everybody does?
Corn and table sugar. That was my first mash.
Uncle Jesse style, right? Just
exactly.
Corn
and I didn't mill it. I didn't do nothing. Whole kernel corn and white table sugar. That was it.
How did that work out?
It actually, to me, it tasted good. I liked it. But you're really just getting a little corn flavor with the sugar wash. Is about what you're getting.
Right.
I didn't mill it down and use alpha and beta and all that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. You were, Uncle Jesse's has that recipe is tried and true, and it's been preached forever. And it's just corn, sugar, water, yeast. And so it's definitely where a lot of people start, And it's
then I decided
a great place to start.
I went to a rum next. I tried 5 gallons of molasses and sugar. That was the biggest disaster ever. It was horrible. Huh?
And sugar?
White table sugar and molasses.
Okay.
White table sugar and molasses. I think Shu is turning over in his bed right now hearing this.
We're not all as smart as Shu, okay?
Right. We can only hope to be, huh?
Yeah. Those people are few and far between, you know what I mean? And if they are, they're on Moonshine Live.
Yeah, and I tried to make wedding cake shine for my daughter for her wedding.
How did that go?
You saw it on the show and you're like, man, I could get that. I could try that.
I can do it. Okay, so I went and bought 20 pounds of cake batter, boxes. Oh
man!
And then I fermented it. It worked. I put it in the steel. It burnt. That was the worst smell in my life.
Oh man, you never forget. Me and Sean and old son was talking the other day, man. There's 2 things in life that a man never forgets the smell of, and one of them scorched.
Exactly.
We don't have to say what the other one is. Everybody already knows.
I went in the house to eat supper while it heated up because it took like 3 hours.
You was cooking all right.
So I went in. When I come back out, there was a cloud of smoke coming out of my building. A huge cloud of smoke. I thought it was on fire. And burnt cake in my nose everywhere. It was horrible.
About had another blueberry almost killed me story, huh? Everybody we come on here, they're always like, man, early on. Yeah, I about killed myself.
Yep.
We've all done it. I mean,
I did the chocolate cake once. I just did a wine out of it just for a video. And man, how disgusting it is at the end of the ferment. And did you have a lot of just separation of muck is what I'm going to call it, slop. And it's like, man, why did I even do this?
Yep.
And you're contemplating dumping it out, but you're like, man, I got money in this. I got to get my money back. I at least got to get drunk off of it, make it feel like it was worth my time. But, for all you beginners, man, if you're doing something and at any point in time you're like, dude, this sucks, I don't want to continue with this, dump it out, man. Do yourself a favor, stop right then, and just start over on something anew.
Cut your losses. You're done.
Yes. Because the ride down is not very fun when you got a crappy mash going, especially when you're first learning. It can be discouraging, like keep it simple early on. And then once you feel like you're ready, then go ahead and hop on in there and try some crazy shit, man. And you'll learn the hard way. Like, there's a reason why it's not done. There's a reason why people don't do it.
But when you're trying the crazy shit, I still recommend keeping it somewhat simple. That way you realize if you fucked up, you know what you did wrong.
Yeah, it's usually you fucked up because you chose to do cereal or cake.
Cereal was what I was thinking. That was it right there.
Yeah, it's all about views.
Sweet feed moonshine.
That's what I started with.
Feed.
Yep. And the separation, I could never get all the solids out of it.
Yeah.
No.
Never. And I always burnt the bottom of the pot trying to do it.
That's one of the problems with people who have doing 100% fruit mashes is it takes a while to separate, and even if you strain it, it's still not separated. And that's why you always hear me talk about secondaries. I move into a secondary and I let it sit 3 or 4 days, and give it a second chance to clear up. And if it's some like really, like I did pears once, and it was 100% pears, and it was just so full of shit. I ended up going 2 secondaries because I just had to let it sit.
Yeah. Yep. I always said that fruit has 2 ferments. One to actually let it ferment, and then you siphon it over in something else and let the rest of the shit drop to the bottom.
And that's how you have to do fruit, especially like always. For me, I preload the day before. It saves me an hour or two of working the day of. So I'm lazy. So if I could cut a few hours off, I'm going to do it every time. So I like to preload the night before, and then the next day come out, put it all together, and run it. And because I fire it up and let it heat up while I'm putting everything else together, and so it saves me a little time here and there.
And then you turn it off, and you come back the next day to empty it out.
Yeah, because it's too hot. If it's too hot, and I'm just like, I'm done. I don't care. So
this last time was my first time ever letting it set till the next day.
Yeah.
I was always under the impression you clean up before you're done. And I let it set last time. My steel is as clean as it's ever been inside.
Oh, yeah. Your fill line. If your fill line down is just immaculate. A little spray
brand
of water,
new copper.
And you're good to go. And everything above it, it's like, man, that looks like good thing I can't look in here because this would drive me crazy.
My OCD kicks in, and I don't want to leave it dirty all night. That's my problem.
And see, I'll break down and everything else except for the pot, and then I just let it sit there, and then I drop a hose in it and puff on the old end and get it draining, and then just let it do its thing.
I would throw it out every night when I got done. And kill all the old lady's grass, and she'd get mad, and every night. And now I don't do it. I'll never do it again.
So what's your take on copper versus stainless?
Stainless is easier. I mean, you can ferment inside of your vessel. I like it.
Yep.
I just don't think if you don't put mesh in it, it don't taste as good to me. I like copper. Man, I like the taste of copper.
Yeah. That banana brandy you have was in a stainless rig with a copper worm, and it ain't near as smooth as when I ran it for the fall jam in an all copper rig. And to be honest, I don't like that banana brandy. I don't like it. It's good. I just don't like it, and I think
it has great flavor, to me. It has great flavor. It does.
It's just not smooth enough, and I think that's after you run it in all copper rig, and then you go to the stainless, and it's different, man. And
I got rid of my 2 stainless rigs I had. Somebody up north ended up with one of them, and then my son-in-law took the other one because he wants to learn how to make it. So I want him to learn on stainless and then go to copper.
Yeah, because if you scored stainless, it's not as big a hit to replace this.
And he's going to learn. He's going to learn on sugar wash. That's what he's going to learn on.
All I'm going to say is I still got a 3-gallon pot that if you look inside, it looks like it's a rainbow.
I know who burnt that. It was my boy, old son. He burnt the shit out of that 3-gallon pot.
That thumper's probably pretty dirty too now.
That 3-gallon pot Sean's got, man. My buddy, he made some corn in it. And he knew he fucking burnt that shit, and he went ahead and he fermented it, and he brought it over in the carboy and was like, "All right, man, it's good to go." And I went to put it in the still, man, and I went to siphon it out, and it was just immediately just that taste of scorch and smell in my mouth. I'll never forget it.
You'll never forget that.
Never. It's one of the 2 smells a man never forgets.
That's why I don't like Hillbilly Jam was fun. But I don't like tasting somebody else's liquor if I don't know them, because you're going to get a bad jar.
Oh yeah,
more bad than good.
Yep, like Sean says, you're going to taste more bad than good. You just got to be like, that's clean.
I don't have the heart to tell them. That's my problem. That's my biggest problem.
So I instead of sometimes it's good to constructive criticism. But like when you're at something and you're just walking around and there's so much so often and you hit something that you don't really like, you just say, "Man, that's clean." and you leave it at that. You know, you don't say good, you don't say bad. You're just like, man, that's clean, man, that's clean, because it's usually pretty clean. You know, it's just you might just not like the flavor. So it's like, oh man, that's clean, man. So I just let the secret out, man. If somebody hits you shit and they're just like, man, that's clean. That's all you keep saying. Then you might want to redo it.
That's like trucker salsa. That's just not my dig.
It's for chips, not for drinking.
No, that's dude, right. Like
that. I mean, I like trucker, but that salsa is for chips only.
I didn't try it, and I have to say I'm not upset I didn't.
You didn't miss anything.
And it's just like whenever I get Texas Papa's coffee, man, like it's clean and it's disgusting. Not that it's disgusting. I just hate coffee.
That's right.
I can appreciate the work and the flavor.
Yes.
Without appreciating the taste of it.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I told him before. I was like, dude,
because I'm not a coffee drinker. I never have drank coffee.
No. Like I can appreciate the work, the alcohol, the cleanliness of it, but I cannot appreciate that taste. It doesn't matter what you do to it.
All this is work. It's all work. I mean, people have put hours into this.
Oh yeah.
And I appreciate their effort, but sometimes I don't like the taste.
And you know, and everybody likes something different, and that's what people make what they like. And just because I like something doesn't mean that Sean's going to like it. And if he was to ever make something I get to try, then I might not like it either. So,
he don't make anything. Don't worry about it.
He don't, so we're good.
No, sir. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
You know, when I started this, I never talked to anybody. I didn't do TikTok. I didn't do Facebook. I was in the depression. You hit all this stuff. And now I don't want to do that no more. I want to do this now. Informative talk, you know. Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't want to hide. I want to help people.
Yes. You know, there's, I think it's so acceptable nowadays that if you're not making it and selling it hundreds of gallons and killing it, then you know it's not taboo like it used to be. It used to be real taboo, and if somebody knew that you made moonshine, then you were automatically an outlaw, or you were chastised, you were pushed to the side. And now with the big craze, it's just swept this country in the past 10 years from the show Moonshiners. You know, it's put it on the map. It's made it more socially acceptable. Now everybody wants to try moonshine. Now, if you're at a party or somewhere and you're like, oh yeah, man, I make moonshine. Everybody's always like, you got some? Can I try some? Can I try some? And you're like, oh, I didn't bring any with me because I didn't know it was going to be that kind of party.
Exactly. Yep. You're right.
But it's always going to be a party if you pull out a jar and hand around.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing when I started was I hated to let somebody try it because I didn't want rejection if somebody didn't like it. I took offense to it. I had 2 jars come back today from a family member that didn't like it. And I ain't hurt no more. Because I was like, well, this guy likes it, so I'll let him have it.
Yeah.
And you try this.
So you know, from doing it, you've grown to understand, like, oh, man, they just might not like the taste. So
I mean, it was the clear apple pie that came back today.
Really?
That somebody didn't like. I was like, okay.
You know, for some people, man, that apple pie has got to have all that cinnamon slap you in the face. At least around here it does.
Yeah. Well, my wife makes the actual apple pie. That's the normal apple pie. Mm-hmm. And I thought them North Georgia steel packs, I was like, they're sitting here wasting. Let me try to infuse those things and make it clear.
So is that what you used?
Yeah, that's what I used right there.
Okay.
And it worked great. I mean, it did. And she's kind of happy because she ain't got to make it no more. Because she spent 2 days making that in our kitchen.
Yeah. But, you know, like when you make it like that, your yield is so much more.
Yeah. I mean, you're making a lot more money.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you're selling it.
Yeah.
But me, I want to do something that nobody else has done. I want something that's mine only. Mm-hmm. You know, or mine first. But I'm going to tell you how I did it because you might want to try it. Mm-hmm. I'm not holding no secrets at all.
Now, and then if somebody does throw the apple pie filling in their jars, if they're like, hey man, I saw Bennett Shiner do this. I got this from him, and in the end, that's all it takes. Like I got this from him, and this is how I do it now. And what a great idea! This is amazing. And I don't know if you I listened to the Untaxed podcast with North Georgia that they did at Maggie Valley.
Yes,
and it was talking about how you put that apple pie mix in your thump jars and how it just came out amazing. So, it's really cool that, you did that and you're already getting your notoriety for what you've done.
And that's all it took for me. That's all. It made me happy when they liked it. I'm doing lemon drop this week, actually. I'm going to try the lemon drop flavoring and see if it does the same thing.
Their green apple flavoring is really strong.
I've got the caramel apple. Yes, the caramel apple.
No, and Hooch gave me a bag of the green shit, and I think I snorted a line of it one night or something. I don't know, but it was real sour. It was nice. So you just never know, man. You get a little intoxicated and you see lines of sugar laying around. You just never know, man. Things get a little weird,
Yeah. Green, the color doesn't change things apparently in Ohio.
No, it don't, man.
No. But I'm going to try the lemon drop and the watermelon to see if the flavor carries over the same.
Yeah.
But I'm also, this week, I'm redoing my steel to run my thumper and a 4-jar rig.
So you're going to run your thumper before the jars?
My thumper and then the 4 jars and then condense.
Have you run it like that before?
Never.
You'll be glad you did.
Yeah.
It definitely slowed the filling of your jars. I don't know if you have an issue with them filling. That thumper will slow that down. Actually, let Sean talk about the thumper with the jars. I don't know shit. So
yeah,
he's right. He's right. It does, and I mean you can run it harder too because the thumper takes a lot more of the brunt.
Yeah, but now can I run the watermelon and the lemonade at the same time?
I put one in one jar and one in another,
and make a double flavor.
Yeah, how many jars you got?
I've got a 4-jar rig.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you'll see that sometimes. People will take their flavors that aren't so strong, and they'll put them in their last jars. That way, that they don't get muffled over by the stronger flavors.
Okay, so the watermelon in this scenario would probably be last.
Yeah,
yeah.
Watermelon's not going to carry over as much as lemonade is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, what I used to do, like you guys talking about that green apple or whatever, the 6-jar I had, I'd put caramel in one and then apple and then caramel and apple and caramel and
What y'all have, I actually mixed it all together and then divided it between the jars. So it was all mixed together.
Okay, gotcha.
And it was caramel, apple, and regular apple pie mixed together.
Okay, hell yeah.
So I'm going to try the watermelon lemonade next.
If you had an infuser on that thumper, you could just keep dumping that good flavor in that thumper, and it pushes it into those jars too throughout your whole run.
I have one of those.
Yeah,
I have one of those. Only problem is you can't refill it, but you only need a half a gallon to make it work, right?
That's right. So I filled that up with a half gallon worth of infuser, and
he did.
And about every gallon and a half on a 50-gallon barrel, I would just dump about a quarter of the jar, and then just go throughout. So that big, you don't need a refill.
Yeah, because I'm actually going to have 5 different steel builders on the next run I make.
Oh, Frankensteel.
Yes, it's Frankensteel. It is a Flatlander, of course, Sean. Vengeance, Jerry Benson, North Georgia, and Copper Steel Co. All involved in the next run.
What's Copper Steel Co? What'd he build?
A thumper, 10-gallon.
Nice. And, while we're talking about Copper Steel Co, Adam out in Washington, so we got that right this time.
Yep.
I got Phil Billy was running that 20-gallon rig he got from him, and I got to play with it and be there. And man, that thing is beautiful. Like You know, I really think that he's the next big up and coming still builder out there.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
North Georgia's on the map. North Georgia is they're the royalty. You know, they're royalty now. They've taken over. They're the biggest out here. But I really think that'll Copper Stilco, Adam at Cotton Stilco, he's on his way to being the next North Georgia Steel Company.
Yes, sir.
I just wish he was out this way and not so far out on the West Coast. I think it would really help.
I mean, he's awesome to work with. He's great. Actually, North Georgia has my old 20-gallon North Georgia. They're going to remodel it for me.
Okay.
And they're going to make me a whiskey still with it.
Is that the pot that come with the thumper and worm that I got?
Yes, sir. We're not going to notice it, is what I hear anyway. They're going to make actually, I guess what's called a chimney with a cap. We're going to get a whiskey chimney.
Nice.
It's going to be huge.
Like a helmet.
That's above my pay grade.
Yeah.
It's actually going to be somewhere close to 18-inch helmet that goes on top of it.
Nice.
Just because my new project is cherry bourbon.
Isn't that what North Georgia does?
But I'm going to outdo them, I promise. Sorry, Jeff.
My man.
Sorry, Jeff. I'm going to outdo you, I promise. That's what our goal is, to outdo the next person. I mean, it really is. I mean,
the best.
Yeah. You take what somebody else did, you make it your own, and you make it better in your eyes. And,
but he likes his, and I might like mine better
because
I know my mash bill that I love.
And you know he'll never like yours as much as you do, and you'll never like his as much as he does.
Because I mean, I'm a fan of 5-gallon barrels because in 1 year I can do what a 53 does in 4 years.
Yeah,
you know.
Yep. And the beauty about that is, you know, you can't really fake a barrel. You know what I mean? I mean, you can use chips and spirals and all that, but still, even a 5-gallon barrel is a barrel.
Now, there are, like, me and Sean picked up some barrels, 10-gallon barrels, and they age in 6 months and call it a couple year. You know, you pop it open, and they got 3 or 4 big, long spirals shoved inside this 10-gallon barrel. And you know, it's like they age super quick, and then it's like, yeah, let me get that barrel.
Yeah.
So...
And they make damn good whiskey. That's Indian Creek Distillery, what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Up here in Ohio.
I love barrels. I mean, I really do, because I'm a bourbon whiskey kind of guy. You know, I love barrels. All these flavors are not for me, but they're for other people that like flavors.
So what about aged whiskey do you like?
I guess it's
a normal answer I get from people.
I guess it's the oaky flavor. I don't know. I've been a Jack and Coke guy my whole life.
Okay, so
and I like my own whiskey. But everybody now today, the craze is flavors. So I've had to adapt to flavor.
Now, when it comes to the bourbon, is it do you like the wood notes about it, or do you like the you know, sometimes you get the little vanillas on the back end with the wood?
Yeah, the vanilla and the caramel or something like that on the barrel part of it.
So, do you plan on to post flavor that whiskey bourbon, or the cherry bourbon?
I want to try to start with. I really want to try to start with to do them both in the same barrel.
You're gonna put fresh cherries in.
I want to put fresh cherry, black cherry. I want to put corn, of course. Maybe just a little wheat, and I actually want to try this time to do a little barley and rye malted for a natural fermentation. No yeast.
Yep.
You ever done natural?
One time, but this is my goal. But it may not work. I don't know.
There's only one way to find out. Hey, it can't be no worse than the cake.
I mean, it can't be, but I mean, if you put it in a barrel, be honest, if you put it in a barrel, it's going to at least taste decent.
Yeah.
But if you don't, I throw it out or I rerun it,
Yeah.
That's the worst thing that can happen. But I like to try things that I've never tried before. I want to expand what I can do. Because the end goal is to distill my stuff somewhere else, legally.
You mean legally?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Well,
I want to be a distiller at a bigger distillery eventually.
Well, that cuts out a question I was going to ask. What's your end game?
Well, my end game is legal. I'm tired of jar to jar, hiding, not out in the open. I want to be out in the open.
One thing, experimenting and trying all these new things does for you, it's knowledge. It's knowledge. Everything you're doing, you're learning, and it's every time. And whether it comes out good or bad, you tried something new, and now like, man, I don't like sweet feed. Or it's like, man, I don't like aging my liquor. I like it clear.
I mean, to be honest, I want to try on somebody else's dime, not mine.
That too,
I mean,
it's always nicer to make mistakes when somebody else is paying.
But if you can come out with the newest thing that's great, everybody loves it, and your name's on it, that's the end game.
Oh yeah, end game's always to see your face on a jar. You always want to hold your own jar. No pun intended, Sean.
I would love to be on Master Distiller like Sean was. I really would. I mean, I would love it. But I know if I did that, I would have to quit everything else I do.
Yeah.
And that's fine with me. I'm tired of dealing with people. I would like to do that.
Yeah, just like, what do you do? I'm in the back, I make the liquor, and that's what I do.
I run these stills all day long. That's my job.
Yeah, like, what are you doing on Monday? I'm mashing.
I'm coming up with the yeast, the grain bill, everything, and I'm running it. That's my job. That's it.
While we're talking about yeast, what kind of yeast do you use? Like, do you use same for your grain and your fruit? Do you use different?
Actually, grain and fruit, I use the same. Rum, I've used Turbo. Actually, I run Daddy for everything else. Until yesterday, I actually used Turbo in my sugar wash.
Oh, Jerry's working on you, ain't
he? It's where you're influenced from. It really is. I've never used Fleshman's. I need to, but I never have.
Yeah, I never used bread yeast till I met Sean. And then, it's like, hey, man, let me give it a try. And I felt like it gives me less problems than the yeast I was using before. And and I'm all about easier. I'm like, this is great. So
I never used nutrients until recently.
I've never used nutrients.
I use more nutrients than I do yeast.
But you're doing a lot of sugar, right?
A lot of sugar.
Okay, so that's understandable. You do sugar, you definitely got to use the newt. So I'm always throw some corn in there, just for flavor.
Yeah,
throw some corn in with that sugar, and there's your newt. It'll get your nutrients from that corn. You're good to go.
The hardest work I ever did was when I started trying to make my own yeast, and I malted the corn, knocked all the roots off, all the growth, and ground it down and made my own yeast. That's the hardest work I ever did. Malted my own corn.
How'd you like that?
It was a lot of work, but it worked great. Wild yeast works great.
It does work great.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It works.
If you can make it work. Yeah. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of work.
That's one cool thing about certain fruits are they're gonna have their own wild yeast growing on them.
Yeah. If you leave the peels on them, you're gonna have your own wild yeast.
And it takes a lot longer to ferment, but man, that flavor,
it's there.
It's definitely there.
I mean, we got nothing but time, really.
I mean, some of us have more time than others.
Well, I mean, sorry, we're not all busy like you, Sean.
Oh no, I'm talking about age, man.
You know, I told somebody the other day, it was like this bourbon right here. He said, "How do you let it sit for a whole year?" I said, "It's called a whiskey thief for a reason. You're still going to taste it all year long. Every month, you're going to like, I need to get a little taste to see if it's working right."
Yeah, you got. I mean, you got to know where it's at.
I mean,
it's just like when you're fermenting, you drop your hydrometer to see where you're at. You got to know.
I mean, and to be honest, I never checked gravity. I never checked anything. When I started doing sugar wash, I had to learn how to check the pH because I never checked anything. I was always like, it's fermented, throw the yeast in. When it's done, I'm running. I never checked. I had a sugar crash this year. I never had one before.
Did you get it finished?
Yeah, I threw baking soda in it and got it finished. Yep. But I had to text people because I was like, it quit. What do I do?
So do you, when it comes to sugar now, do you adjust prior to? So when it does drop, it won't drop low enough to kill it? Not kill
I
it,
usually now throw some baking soda in it when I do it.
Okay.
When I ferment. I like to get my pH up to about 6 before I quit.
Gotcha.
Somewhere between 5 and 6 pH. Even if it crashes, you're still going to finish.
Yeah, you're still good and high, so
yeah.
Always good to pre-plan a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So, favorite thing to make? What's your favorite thing to make?
I mean, to me, it's still corn whiskey.
You still like your favorite thing to make that you like to drink for yourself? Like you make it, if you like, I'm going to drink this. This is what I'm making.
5 gallons of bourbon every year.
Every year you do a 5-gallon thing of bourbon every year.
Actually, this year I've done 15 gallons of bourbon.
Well, I mean, keep doing what you're doing, man. Because I'm not a bourbon guy. I don't really like bourbon, man. I like that bourbon you made.
Okay. Now next year you need to try it because this is the first year I've ever used white corn.
Okay.
And we're going to try it next year.
Well, I'll still have this. I'll still have this bottle next year.
I don't know if you'll have it or not. Phil might drink that whole bottle.
No. Like, I wound up with 2. You handed me a second one Saturday night. You was like, here, take this, and so I wound up with 2. And
now, hold on, did you get 2, Sean?
I don't know. Maybe it was
somebody ended up with Jerry's banana pineapple bourbon.
No, what I got here and what I had at Phil's was just straight. It's corn bourbon. There's no.
Okay. So you got the good bottle.
So Sean must have got the good bottle.
I've never me and Jerry's been friends for months. I've never drank his liquor.
Who got the bottle? we gotta find the bottle. Sean, did you get that?
Sean got the bottle.
Did you get that bottle of the good shit?
I mean, I can go find it real quick.
Save it for next time.
I mean, I'm mad. He come to the house the other day, and I still ain't got a bottle of it.
That bottle done made it all the way to Ohio.
Hey, look, I'm okay. You know, I love bourbon, no matter what kind. But this new black cherry is what I tried. North Georgia's, which y'all did too, I think.
I didn't.
I did, but
Easy, you tried it, right?
Yeah, I did, but it was sometime in my Saturday bender, and I don't remember. Well, I don't remember tasting it.
We were all pretty bad all Saturday. I promise.
I did try it, and I imagine it was really good. I don't remember which number it was. So.
I'm trying to make my own version of it, and I'm hoping next year it'll be fine.
Well, I can't wait to try it.
So, are you a cherry fan?
No. I mean, to be honest, no, I'm not. But like I say, if I try something I kind of like, it don't matter if it's really a fan of it. I want to recreate it.
Oh yeah,
Try to outdo it.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Like, I mean, I like this. How can I make it better for my palate? How can I make it even better? Like, every time I take a drink, I want it to be,
Yes.
food
It's
porn.
like, I don't know if y'all know Vintner's wine base.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I use them all the time now. Because, no offense, but the banana is expensive to make.
Oh, it is.
If I can buy a concentrate that'll do the same thing infusion, I'm going to do that.
Oh yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, dollars and cents, right?
Yep, it makes sense.
I mean, that's what I try to do.
I've been looking at banana purees where you get 45 pounds of straight pureed bananas, and just different ways to make it simple.
Yeah.
And I'm lazy, but I'm also a glutton for punishment, so I don't mind standing there shucking 100 pounds of bananas.
Okay, if you can do 45 pounds of banana puree and 2 bottles of 99 bananas in your infusion jars, why wouldn't you do that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, I mean, the only reason why you wouldn't do it is if you're still, you're staying to the moniker of true brandy, and not so much an infused flavor. Yeah. So it's different sides of the fence. But if you're wanting to make sense, then yeah, infuse you some sugar and let's get it.
But I mean, my opinion is on a lot of this is we don't follow any rules whatsoever. So whatever gets you the right flavor at the cheapest price.
Yep.
It don't matter if it's infusion, post flavoring, pre flavoring, mashing in. Do whatever gets you the best flavor for the less price.
And that's what you see a lot at these distilleries. It's low proof liquor with a lot of flavoring, and that's what's making the money, because you're going to sell 100 jars of 40 proof apple pie before you sell 10 jars of 120 proof clear corn liquor. And
I was upset when I made my first corn liquor and nobody wanted it.
No.
Everybody said, I can buy it for $30 a gallon. Why would I buy yours?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, mine tastes better, and I'm not selling it for $30 a gallon.
Yeah. Mine's got love in it, man. You can't put a price on love.
And so I drank a lot of liquor in the beginning because I didn't want to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's getting better. It's getting easier because it tastes good. I can get a lower price because I infuse everything now.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I know you. And go ahead, Sean.
I was gonna say, and sugar shine is a good thing too, man. You just infuse with it. You can make gins or whatever you want, and it's not a bad base.
Yeah, I mean, that's my next big project is gin.
Mm-hmm.
I want to try that because I've never done it before.
Well, I know a guy. It's not me. But
well, hell no, it ain't you. Somebody's making it. We know it ain't you.
Yeah, that really hurts my asshole to not be able to make any liquor, man. I'll tell you what. But anyway,
Yeah.
But yeah, whenever you're interested in that, man, I know a guy he does the same base that you're probably planning on, sugar. Yeah. And it's just, dude, I got some 180, dude, and it's straight berries.
I don't like.
I mean, gin, it's gin through and through. 180.
It's good gin.
Yeah.
And just to know that how with the base that he used, and then just a complete infusion, it's amazing. It's amazing the steps that infusion has come in the past 2 years. If you just look at how the jars have taken off, and then now you got the infuser that's rolled out there, and so there's just so many different ways to put flavor in your liquor that there's no reason not to have good tasting liquor anymore.
Oh yeah, I mean, I got a 4-jar rig that I bought just to do infusions. Now I want an 8-jar because, I mean, you're infusing flavors. Why not get the most infusing you can?
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Big. If 2 is good, 4's better. If 4's working great, let's put 8 on here.
Okay, and also you're getting higher proof. Okay, you proof it down.
It's cleaner. It
is the cleanest liquor with the most flavor you can get.
And like I've said before, man, I think the home distiller is putting out such a cleaner, more quality product than any distillery is right now.
Yeah,
because of the small batch and the care that we put into it. Because like you said, that's our dime. It's not it's not somebody else's dime, and you can just write off a mistake. Man, when it's your dime, you're going to put that extra love in it, and that extra, it's going to come out better. And so, like, for me, I'd much rather try a home distiller's liquor than I would a new liquor from a big distillery.
Oh yeah, and I tried an 8-jar rig the other day when I ran that big one.
Is it on the 150 that you was talking about?
And it was like one up here, one down here. Then the natural reflux ran it up to 180 when we got done.
Sean, is that the one you sent me pictures of, Sean, where the one was up here and the one was all right? So I know exactly what one you're talking about.
I mean, it was so smart that I wasn't ready for it. Okay. And we had to shut it off halfway through, empty all the jars out, start again.
That was my question, because when Sean sent me pictures of that, I had asked him, how the lower jars, if they would fill up faster than the higher jars.
At about 7.5 gallons, they filled up.
Okay, and was that just all the jars, or just the ones that were a lot lower?
Mainly the bottom, but the top ones were half full or so.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And we dropped it down to about a quarter, and then started it back. But I mean, we come out with 15 gallons at 180.
Yeah, that's wild.
Did he build that jar rig for that still purposely?
Yes, that was not for the show. That was actually for that still.
Okay.
Yeah, the one he built for the show was a lot more intricate, a lot bigger.
Right.
But the one for his personal rig was a 150, 8 jars, and a 55-gallon 1-inch worm, 50 foot of 1-inch copper.
Nice.
How fast did that run?
It took us like 8 hours to do a 150-gallon run once it started.
So about 2 gallons an hour?
About 2 gallons an hour, yeah.
Nice.
I mean,
what size piping was ran to the jars, or like that part?
It ran 1 inch. Actually, once the lid arm come down, we ran 1.5 inch tri clamp, and it ran to 1 inch the whole way.
So are the jars piped in 3/4 inch?
1 inch the whole way.
Oh, so 1 inch.
The jars.
So, I mean, and it was so. What he done with that was like he made a piece to go. Both arms to go to each jar had a piece on them to hold them together. And it was not. It needed a stand. Okay. It was.
But he had it on. Fuck you, piece of shit.
What? What?
I took a drink of the old High Rock from Sugarlands.
Oh, okay.
I snuck it in there.
I know that was the best liquor you've ever had.
That was the best liquor I ever had right there, boy. My bad. I totally ruined the show, man. That's my bad. I couldn't help myself. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So, I met you for the first time in Maggie Valley. Right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Man, that was I've been watching, ever since you started putting out content, your TikTok channel's coming along, man. I really like what you're putting out. I like what you're putting out.
I mean, making fun of my wife really does help a lot, I promise.
Yeah, it gets you viewers,
it does. I mean, and look, like I told somebody, it's like, yes, that gets me viewers, But the more viewers I get that way, the more I get to do the other way.
Oh yeah, I'm a firm believer in when you have a social media type deal and you're trying to grow your name, you can't just do one thing. You can't just be like, oh, all I do is make moonshine. It's like, well, people like entertainment. So if you could throw entertainment in there, it definitely grows everything that you're doing a lot quicker, and it makes it so it's not so boring.
I started with drinking the comments, okay? And it was doing good. I mean, 1,700 followers. But I was killing my liver every night trying to drink. Okay, I started making fun of her. I jumped up to like 20-some thousand.
Yep. And all it takes is one good video, and it will.
But then I'm allowed to do my moonshine videos, and more people see it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only reason it was.
Yeah, I started as my TikTok thing, and it takes a while to gain traction, and then you put out one dumbass video that takes off, and then all of a sudden you're over 50K, and it's just crazy how it does like that.
I mean, now I'm 44,000, and I don't know why. I don't understand it one bit.
I'm coming in hot at 5.
Yeah,
because I'm not funny. Okay, everybody just likes to look at my wife. That's it. They like to look at her.
How do you think we found your TikTok channel? We followed her first.
Well, hey, it'd be all right if he had some soul in his shit, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, she's fun. I mean, she really is. But then everybody has to look at my shit, And, if it helps one person, that's all that matters to me.
So when you first started out, would you gain a lot of knowledge from the internet? Is that where did you watch a lot of people make things?
I don't know. Do you know Moonshine Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, I followed him first.
Okay,
that was the first one.
Do you mean Sippy Sip?
Yep, he taught me a lot with his little moonshine videos. I didn't want to get on moonshine TikTok to start with because I thought you were supposed to hide it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I met Shua, Hooch, and all them, and then Sean,
you ain't got to hide it if you don't do it.
That was the thing. I was like, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get on this part of it. And that's where I'm at now.
And I've put in the work to gain this knowledge, and I've messed up enough that, I want to help the next person out. You can see you can see how makes you feel like you're passing it down. Like say you don't have kids to pass it to. Well, at least there's somebody out there who wants to learn from you or who will value your information, and you help them along their way. And for a lot of people starting out, they think it's a lot harder than it is. It's hard work, but it's definitely a lot simpler than a lot of people think it is or
make it out to be.
Yeah. And not that there are any bumps along the way, because it's hard work, but it's not as difficult to get started as the majority would want you to believe.
Well, it's like the TV show. I mean, it tells you a lot. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't. It's made for TV.
It's edited for TV,
Exactly. I mean, you don't learn everything from that show.
Yeah. They're not putting on a how-to video,
No.
You're not going to moonshiners.com and they're showing you how to make Big Easy peach brandy step by step.
Okay.
They're not doing that.
I mean, your mash does not go bad overnight.
No.
Alcohol is a preservative.
I got mash that's 3 months old.
It's going to last months. I mean, really, to be honest.
That shit's going to run, man. Alcohol, that's not going to evaporate unless it's real hot.
I've got to run this today or it's going to go bad. No, really not.
Man, that shit's good for a few. You're good, man. I think the vinegar myth is a big myth out there that everybody thinks, it's going to turn. No, it's not going to turn to vinegar.
No.
Unless you turn it to vinegar.
Turn it, yeah. Well, if you don't know, you don't know, and a lot of people out there that are inexperienced.
Well, it's like the front of it. foreshots and heads. They say, you got heads, hearts, and tails. There are foreshots in there that are not heads, but they're not hearts.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to separate those out.
But, a lot of people that make bourbon, they do want just a little bit of heads in there and a little bit of tails in there too.
I mean, I'd rather have a lot of tails and very little heads.
Yeah.
I'll take all the tails in the world in an aged barrel.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't want no heads in an aged barrel.
Yep. See, that's one thing I've not, I don't know, man. I just cannot grow a palate for wooded shit at all. I've got my, I don't want to say belief on wood, but I mean, everybody likes their stuff,
You like what you like, man.
I know what easy up here tells me. Right? What do you tell me about wood? Right?
I like to put wood in one thing. That's my old lady.
Exactly. But I mean, I'm a bourbon and whiskey guy. I love bourbon and whiskey. I like it and I love it, and I
want more of it.
I hate flavors. I really do. But that's what everybody else wants.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to do what your clientele wants.
Right.
That's what makes some sense.
I mean,
give the people what they want. Give the people what they want.
Cents, right? Yes, I finance my love with what everybody else wants.
But in the end, you can make it for yourself exactly how you want, and that's what's great.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like this cherry bourbon. Nobody I know is going to want it except me.
I mean, I wouldn't mind trying.
Well, I want
it. But anyway, you know what I mean.
We know.
Women are not going to want cherry bourbon.
Mm-mm. Unless it's like, oh, this is 25 proof and it tastes like a cherry popsicle, then they want it. But, for you or I, we're like, hey, man, I want all of it. I want it to be how it's supposed to be.
I mean, me personally, I want 110. My bourbon's 110. And
out of the barrel or in the barrel?
Out of the barrel.
What do you put it in at?
I try to put it in at like 120 to 130.
That way, if you
it'll come out about 110, somewhere around there.
Nice.
I don't think it gains. Some people think it gains. I think it loses a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my opinion of what I've seen.
So what's that? Since you age stuff, where some people they'll have like 6 barrels, but they'll always pull out of one and they'll take some out of the next one and then put it in that one. Is that something that you do, or is that something that
I actually did that this year for the first time? What I brought that Big Easy has and you have, I actually put back in. I left 2 gallons and put back in this year's with that barrel.
Okay.
So it's a Solara process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Where you rob out of one and you put the new year in.
Yeah,
you rob from Peter to pay Paul, all down the line.
So I put back in 3 gallons of this year's with last year's.
Okay, nice.
So actually, the oldest I have is 2019, 1 barrel, and it's a 2019, 2020, 2021 mix.
So how do you go by when it's ready to come out of the barrel?
I mean, be honest, whiskey thief, I'm a taste.
That's
when it's ready to come out, I'll taste it and see when it's ready to come out. Every year I try to take 1 pint out of each barrel to see how far along it is.
And then compare each one and see.
Yeah. I mean, I like 4-year-old bourbon. But in a 5-gallon barrel, it takes less time than a 53-gallon.
Right. So make smaller.
Well, from the sound of it, you need to get you 150 gallons still so you can fill up a 53-gallon barrel.
Yeah, you might as well.
The 150-gallon steel is coming first of the year. I'm actually getting 150 gallon this year. And that'll be my last one, I think. I really do. I really think that'll be the last one.
Until you're like, man, I sure would like to have a 250.
Look, I mean, to be honest with my job, if I could run one time a week,
with that
would be optimum for me.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of my 30-gallon 4 times a week, I could run that 150 one time a week.
Yeah, it definitely changes things. One long day as opposed to 4 kind of long days.
To me, with my job, one long night.
Yeah.
Okay. And the next morning I'm done. I'm good till next week.
Yep. I don't blame you.
The farming business, I have to be available.
Right.
If I can get one time a week, I'm good.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
No.
So is Jerry doing it for you?
I haven't talked to him yet, but I think so.
He don't know yet, but he is.
Yeah.
I think he's actually filming every week for like the next 3 or 4 weeks. And then after that, I think we're going to work on that project.
Nice.
Because the 30-gallon, I went up and helped him finish it, which was the greatest thing I ever did. Because I learned a lot in 4 hours of just talking.
Well, why don't you all go ahead and make 2 of them?
Who wants the other one?
We won't say. We won't say.
Actually, to be honest, I'm going to go to North Georgia to pick up my 20. They have some 16-ounce copper sheets they want to get rid of. So I'm going to take them to him.
That makes sense. I remember you saying you were going to get some copper sheets.
And I want to get 3 copper sheets so I can make my new pot, my new worm.
Nice.
And we can work out a deal that way.
Yep.
Save you some sheets and just put your worm in a barrel.
At the end of the day, I'm going to make a 55-gallon barrel with a worm in it.
Nice.
Yep.
Because that's cost efficiency. Because a 55-gallon copper barrel is expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Why would you use a plastic barrel? Because that liquor's never going to touch the barrel.
Not at all.
It's only going to touch the pipe.
Yeah.
When you can have a barrel for $25.
Yes, exactly.
Why spend fucking $2,000 or $1,000 or whatever?
The big steel I ran had a 55-gallon copper barrel.
Mm-hmm.
It looked beautiful.
But he also built it too.
Yeah.
But it was his. It's different.
Exactly.
But that 55-gallon copper barrel isn't going to perform any different than a trash can would with a copper worm in it.
Okay, you know the white barrels like I have.
Yep.
Okay, that's what my condenser is in, and
Yep.
I run a half-gallon chiller, and I can run a whole run with a half-gallon chiller.
Nice.
So what are you going to do when you get that bigger one? That half-gallon chiller might not work.
I've actually got a sealed worm. A 10-gallon sealed worm.
Nice.
And I'm going to run it. 10-gallon thumper, 10-gallon sealed worm, and a 4-jar rig.
On the 150?
I'm going to put all of it together.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's going to take up my whole building, but we're going to put it all together.
Well, it'll pay for a bigger one.
As long as I can talk to the little lady and make sure it's okay.
Yeah, when it makes sense, it's always okay.
All you got to do is go in there with dollars, and then it'll make sense. I promise you.
Oh, man.
As long as I put up with her singing career, she'll put up with my moonshine career.
Hey, best part about us is, man, we get deaf as we get older. So sing away, sing away.
Exactly. But she is an awesome singer if you never heard her, by the way.
How do you think we found you?
Look, I told her everybody loves her. They deal with me.
Oh yeah, we tolerate Bennett, and it is what it is. So.
I mean, she's awesome. She's been great this whole time. But everybody loves her. They tolerate me.
Well, I think we've been on here an hour and 10 minutes. This has been a good time, man. Bennett, we appreciate you coming on.
Hey,
we appreciate you divulging in your history you got and how you got started. And
I appreciate y'all letting me be on here. Really, I mean, it's an honor. It really is.
We're honored for anybody who's willing to come on and shoot your shit with us and look at our ugly ass faces for an hour. And if you can do that, man,
I'm not no better. I promise.
You're all right in my book.
Oh, we know.
I got a Post-it note over your square on the screen, so I didn't have to look at you the whole time.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I have a face for radio. Okay, I promise.
You ain't the only one here.
I had to get a second one because I keep one over Sean all the time, anyways.
And I appreciate this banana brandy, by the way.
Hey, man, I appreciate the bourbon. I'm gonna have to go out here and find these other jars. So the hunt begins.
Well, they might not be as good, so don't worry about them. Yeah.
Well, one of these days, you guys will get to appreciate my
if you ever make anything,
vodka.
we'll appreciate it. I promise you.
Yeah, I would definitely appreciate it.
I'd appreciate one jar because you were supposed to bring me like 2.
Yeah, that didn't work out. We didn't,
I already know what I'm going to say when I taste that infused vodka. I'll be like, this is clean. This is clean, man.
This is neutral, okay?
This is clean. This is
clean,
just
listen for that when they're filming us if we're tasting it.
This is clean.
Well, I look forward to seeing you filming a little more.
Yeah, me too.
Who, me?
You.
Yeah, you.
If they want anything.
I mean, if they want me to film, I will. Because I look beautiful.
We'll see Bennett on there running that 150.
I hope so. I really do. I hope so.
That'd be awesome.
Yep. That's my end goal one day, is to do that.
Yeah.
It would be an experience. So
I mean, running that 150 at Maggie Valley was probably the highlight of my career so far.
When I hit triples, that was a highlight of mine too. So
I mean, you always want to run something bigger than what you have.
You damn right, man. Always.
I told him, I said, I will come up and run your steel for you if you want me to. He said, sure, why not?
Why not?
So
and you get there and it runs itself.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably took a nap, by the way.
I think I have a few times.
Taking a nap?
Yeah. You gotta get it when you can.
As long as you don't fall asleep. As long as you don't fall asleep and it roll over.
Now.
Not too long. You got to do the old Edison trick. Edison used to walk around with a steel ball in his hand. So when he fell asleep, he'd hit the floor and wake his ass up so he could get back to work. So,
exactly.
There you go. That's right.
No rest for the weary. But
hey, Sean, run something for me this week, okay? I promise you.
I would love to, but I can't. I ain't got nothing.
I wouldn't hold my breath on that.
Well, come down here. I got plenty.
On our way.
I mean, if you got access to a 150, I'll be down in a hurry.
On our way.
I think I know somebody.
Yeah, tell Jerry we want to come run that jar set up.
That's right.
I'll let him know. Okay.
All right, we'll be there. So,
all right.
We appreciate everybody listening. We really appreciate old Bennett Shiner joining us tonight. It was awesome, and I'm sure we'll have him on again in the future, and he'll have some more good shit to tell us. Maybe he'll have another Cake About Killed Me story.
That's right.
I'll never forget that one.
You never forget the ones about kill you. All right, well, everybody have a good night, man. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to try to come back Tuesday with Appalachian Hooch. We're going to see how it holds up. So maybe we'll see you on Tuesday. If not, we'll definitely be back next Sunday. And we have another really good guest coming. So appreciate everybody tuning in, man. And thanks a lot, Bennett. Sean,
yes, sir.
I'll see you again a lot sooner than I really want to. So
that's right.
Everybody have a good night.
No choice, motherfucker.
Shine on, right? No
Thank
choice.
you, buddy.